Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Stacey West podcast, episode number 394. We are, as Steve points out in the comments, we are 3 sleeps away from the football season. I am Ben, and tonight I'm joined by Emily. How are you doing? You keeping all right?
Yeah, hi, Ben. Yeah, I'm doing really well. Thank you. Yeah, not too bad. How are you?
I'm good. It's been a busy old week so far, and every time I say that, I'm reminded of there's a little joke from 30 Rock, the TV show, and I think it's Tina Fey's character says, "Oh, what a week, huh?" And the guy turns around and goes, "It's Wednesday." Yep, every single week at the minute. But no, it's all good. How's your week been? Because I know you've been somewhere related to your top tonight, haven't you?
Yes, I had a very exciting day yesterday. I went to the Lionesses Victory Parade in London, and oh my God, it was amazing. It was so good. And yeah, I haven't taken this off since the final, but I had to wear it, didn't I? It was fantastic just to see that many people. I heard there were 65,000 people all coming out to see the women and celebrate their incredible achievement. It's just, I could go on about it forever, but it's just so much. I mean, maybe, for me particularly, it's so much more than football. And they're just great. I want to be them. I want to be a lioness, but I've sort of accepted the fact that I'm probably not going to make it now.
Yeah. I think we can welcome you into that club on the Stacey West of maybe being a professional footballer is slightly out of our reach at this stage.
Yeah.
Of all of us, I think Chris has maybe got the best chance, but I think he might be slightly past the point of getting that lucrative contract, unfortunately.
Yeah, maybe slightly out of reach, but never know. Get your head down, work hard. We'll see.
It's definitely beyond me, let's be honest, but yeah, no, London sounded very, very good fun. I had a good bit of fun last night. I went to a pub quiz and I won.
Hey, well done.
Yeah, we won. We came third in the first round, so that was a tenner. Then the second round was a weird one where they reset the scores at the start of each round. If we finished 15th out of everybody that was playing, you'd get 50 quid, but there was no prize for the top spots. It was like, this is the round for the average people. We were like, oh, maybe we'll win this, and it turned out we were higher than that. And then the final round was the jackpot for 100 quid, and we won. I was delighted, and we also won for the best team name.
Oh, go on then.
It was Guest Club 7.
Nice.
Which was very strong. So I kind of thought, shall we have a little bit of a chat? What's the best pub quiz team name that you've ever heard, Emily? Gosh, and if you're in the comments as well, let us know.
Yeah, put your pub quiz team names in the comments. They'll be better than mine. I normally end up going for something a bit cliche, like a Quizzy Rascal, or something like that. I think it's got to be pun based.
Oh, absolutely.
But yeah, I'm normally a Quizzy Rascal.
Okay.
But, yeah, any advice on that in the comments? Absolutely, get them in.
Normally, I'm a fan. I'm a fan of early to late 2000s emo and alternative rock. So I always tend to go with Quizzery Business off the Paramore song. So yeah, but that's probably enough. I'm sure people don't want to hear about what we suggest as team names. Let us know yours, because I'm sure there are some absolute belters. The best one, I was slightly disappointed actually that we won the best quiz team name and not the team that were called Bev, I Know You're Here, Let Me See the Kids.
Nice.
Which
I
was,
like that.
Which
I
was
hope
brilliant. Yeah. So yeah, that was that. But of course, there's a few little bits of Imps news that we can talk about this week. Obviously, ahead of the season, we will be previewing the Reading game in a little while. I had a chance to Johnny Hunt, Reading fan, a little bit earlier on today, and we've got a clip from that. That will be the preview will probably be up Thursday morning-ish. I think we'll give the podcast a little bit of time to breathe, but that'll be up tomorrow. So you get a little sneak preview of that. But before we do, I think we've got 3 bits of news to briefly discuss around the Imps. So first one, and probably the biggest one, is a piece of news that I'll be honest, at the end of last season, I didn't think we'd be talking about this due to of rumors that were swirling around and, stuff that I'd actually heard firsthand. I was thinking, oh, okay, this could be interesting. But Adam Jackson has signed a contract extension until 2027 with an option to extend for a further year based on appearances. So, Emily, I know you're probably going to gush a little bit at Adam Jackson because he is the colossus that we all love at the Stacey West podcast. So, I mean, this is just great news, isn't it?
Yeah, really, really good news. I'm really pleased. Really pleased with that announcement, that contract extension. I'm a bit like you, though. At the end of last season, and actually probably more so kind of in the middle of the season, I had my own question marks about Adam Jackson. I was questioning whether he was the player that he had been for us. I thought his performances dipped. When he came in to replace Paulie O'Connor and occasions like that, I was questioning, will we need him next season?
Mm-hmm.
Are there better centre backs out there? But then as the season kind of went on and kind of got towards that kind of end of the season, he looked every bit the player that we know that he is. So his form picked up, and right now I'm really pleased with that contract extension. I think that's excellent news for us as a club.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I was probably I held out a little bit of hope when he was going through that sort of, not dry spell, it's probably the harsh way of looking at it, but he was obviously maybe had a little bit of a dip in form, and I think we were thinking, yeah, it might be time for him to move on maybe, but then the way that he's finished the season last time out, I think he was phenomenal. Absolute colossus in the side. Obviously with Paulie O'Connor going, you kind of think, is it time for maybe a full change around in defence? But you've got to have that constant. And the fact that Jacko is now our longest serving player, as Gary mentioned in his article, the chances are that he will hit that 200 appearances mark this season, which is phenomenal. It's his 6th season with the Imps. I'm delighted. And he, away from the pitch, he's just a lovely bloke as well. I've had the pleasure of meeting him a couple of times. Once while sober, once while very much not sober. And each time he was just a delight to talk to. Probably very accommodating, I think, is probably the way of putting it, particularly when you have a very, very drunk Lincoln City fan trying to, this is the best, this is good, you're really good, you are. He's just a lovely, lovely bloke. So, delighted he signed his extension with the possibility of seeing Jacko at the Imps until 2028, depending on appearances. So it'd be interested to know, it seems maybe a little bit ambiguous as to whether the extension is a club option or a player option.
Doesn't say, does it, specifically?
No, it just says an option based on appearances. So who knows? I mean, I can't imagine, though, to be honest, he wouldn't make that appearance quota outside of an injury.
No. I mean, I can't see that either. I think he's in our starting 11 at the weekend, for sure. I feel like the defensive kind of lineup from the friendly at West Brom, for me, feels like that's who we're going to start with. So I feel like he is going to be a mainstay of that defense. But saying that, if everybody is fit, aside from the left back that we need, we've got a lot of centre half options. But no, I think going back to what you were saying, I think that consistency is key, particularly when we've lost Paudie O'Connor and we've lost Sean Rowan, consistency in that defence, I think, is going to be really important. And I kind of feel like, you know, we know where we are budget-wise, and we've seen clubs spending lots and lots of money, and we know we can't do that. So I do feel like we are, you know, we've not brought in loads and loads of new players. Well, we've brought in barely any new players, but we don't need we don't need many new players. And I think leaning into that consistency is going to be one of our strengths, as opposed to, you know, we've brought in all these big, fancy, expensive new signings. It's actually, we'll know that consistency is key. And I think Jacko plays a massive part of that, you know, that kind of spine of our team. Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely so. And like I say, I'm so pleased, because I know there was a period of time where he was a little bit maligned for having, you know, he was injury prone. I was like, he's not injury prone. He's stuck his head where it's going to hurt, and he's had a whack to the temple, and he's got a concussion. If you're going to do that, you're probably going to put yourself at risk of having that. And ultimately, if you don't do that, you get criticised for, you know, oh, he's pulling out of challenges. It's like, one, make your mind up, but two, I'd much sooner have a centre half that does that. Obviously, ideally without the injury, you know, without the head injuries. But I think in terms of regular footballing injuries, I think he's actually been pretty clear of those.
Yeah, he's had a
For the most
few
part.
niggles. Yeah, he's had a
Yeah.
few niggles, I think, hasn't he? But yeah, those head injuries make up the bulk of his absences. I mean, even, you know, his disciplinary record's good. And, you know, you're
Yeah.
talking about what a nice bloke he is. I mean, I haven't met him, but he kind of comes across that way on the pitch, doesn't he? He comes across as a nice
He's
fella.
just calm. He's just like calm,
He is
collected,
calm.
gets his head down, gets on with it, and
You
that's
never
that.
see him lose his head, do you? You
I
never see
think
him lose his head or anything like that.
yeah, I think there's probably one game that I can't remember which game it was, but I think I've seen him maybe get flustered once or twice. But on the whole, yeah, he's the kind of person that you want at the back, particularly in the wake of Paudie O'Connor leaving, to extend his stay is just great. There was a comment in it around. I think it was from Jez, where he basically said, you know, that loyalty is a rare thing in football these days. I mean, let's be honest, it's pretty much non-existent for most people. So to see him stick around is just great. And there was one comment actually in the Stacey West Discord, I believe it was from somebody you may know, who said, you know, do we think this might be an indication that his future potentially lies away from playing? He might be, you know, starting to get involved with the coaching side of things. And it's a decent shout. I mean, by the time that this comes to an end, if he does trigger that additional year, then we're probably looking at he'll be 34, I think, which usually you'd probably expect to see a centre back maybe thinking about the future more than anything else. So whether that would be a player coach role, for example, or whether it's just, you know what, I'm done with playing. Let's teach some kids and do it that way. Because I think he was spotted at games with Trinity the other night as part of the coaching side there. So
yeah, that's nice. Yeah, I can see that as well. Again, from his temperament, you can see that. So yeah, that'd be nice as well. I think it'd be a nice story, wouldn't it, if he kind of kept on in a coaching capacity.
Absolutely. So yeah, let's have a quick look at what some of the people are saying. I mean, Andy's saying good news on a new contract for Jacko. We've got great news about Jacko from Walter. It says, are we lacking pace perhaps with the two centre halves? Obviously, with Sonny Bradley and Adam Jackson likely being our first two choices. Is lack of pace a worry, do we think?
Well, I mean, Paul O'Connor wasn't known for his pace necessarily, was he either? So there is that. I mean, I don't know about I nearly said his name wrong then. Riley Towler, Tiny Rowler. I'm not sure, you know, about his pace. I think, you know, he played on the left in the friendly against West Brom, and I would imagine he would start there again this Saturday unless a left back miraculously comes in. So if he plays in that central role, whether he's any quicker. I don't know, but I think we played with Jacko and Pordy at the back, and neither of them are known for their pace, are they?
It's very true. It's very true. So the other thing that this does bring up, and I know we did speak off air and we said we probably weren't going to be touching on it. Steve suggests here that there's been guessing again about which centre half is leaving due to Jacko's new contract. I don't think there's anything to worry about on that front with regard to centre halves leaving. Obviously there are rumours floating about around Tom Hamer, I believe, but it's not really worth paying them any mind. I think looking into it for a few minutes, it seems to be that it was a bored Barnsley fan that went, "Oh, this would be nice," and then that transpired into, "Oh, well, that's definitely happening," and it's not. So yeah, it just seems like absolute social media nonsense.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything to worry about. I think, it's hard to comment on Lewis Monsma because we've seen so very little of him, and I think as a fan base we're attached to him because we know how good he was. We've been on this journey with him throughout his injury, so there's an emotional attachment there, and we hope he can be the player that we know that he is, but we haven't had the opportunity to really see it, have we? And in that regard, neither have the club so much. So, I think if we brought in a left back, that would give us Monsma, Hamer, Jacko, Bradley, and Towler. That's probably more. It probably is more than enough. And
if
definitely. You're going to put a question mark on any of them, maybe Monty, sadly. But I don't think it's anything to worry about. I don't think it's that we're going to lose a player that I think is, he's going to play a vital role in our squad next season. I don't think it means that at all.
No, definitely not. I mean, particularly Hamer. I mean, we signed him last season. The fee would be phenomenal.
Yeah,
it would have to be. And then I suppose if he did go, maybe he would be the first £1 million player, and people would stop worrying about Ethan Arahan anymore.
But, we've moved on. We've moved on, Ben. Can't talk about that.
Some of us have, Emily. Some of us have.
No, I don't think I truly have, but we will for the sake of this podcast.
Yeah, fair. Right. So next bit of news that we wanted to talk about. We'll keep this one brief because it is just literally a list of games. The Virtue Trophy group tie games have been announced. We will host County at Sincil Bank on the 2nd of September, and Manchester United's under-21s will appear at the bank on the 30th of September, and then we will be heading to Barnsley on Tuesday, the 11th of November. If you have a Gold Plus membership, I think you get those included in your season ticket as part of that. So
the only disappointment is we're not playing at Notts County as a Nottingham-based Lincoln City fan. It's handy for me to get to County, but never mind.
Yeah, that's fair. And then the other fixture news, we have had 2 games moved to a earlier kickoff due to Sky coverage. So let's have a look. Where are we? Stevenage in October, so 18th of October will now kick off earlier than previously scheduled, and Peterborough United's trip to City will kick off at 12 noon on the 4th of January. Interesting that just says we'll kick off earlier than scheduled. I'm assuming that means at 12:30.
Normally, but is it left open for a reason? I don't know.
I don't know.
I'll be there regardless, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll turn up anyway. Put it on at midnight, I'd show up probably.
And of course, if you are watching those games on Imps Plus instead of Sky Sports, you will be hearing the voice of a legendary commentator coming through your TV. So if you're watching a game that you can't access, definitely can't access it on Saturday at 3 p.m, you will be able to hear the voice of John Helm commentating for the Imps over the course of the season. Now, this was a bit of news that it just made me feel a bit warm and fuzzy. Like yes. I've got really strong memories of growing up and watching Goals on Sunday with John Helm talking, through what's going on. and giving us all a bit of a lowdown on what's going on in the divisions. And there's obviously a lot more that John's done. I'm sure fans of a certain age will remember his absolute professionalism in the face of horror, really, during the Bradford fire. But yeah, he's just a legendary commentator when it comes to Lincoln City, and he's got so many memories attached to it. I know that he did the Arsenal friendly, and Gaz was his pundit, and he said he was just the nicest bloke, made him feel so welcome. And I think Gaz said at one point, I think he had 6 pages of notes dedicated to Arsenal's under-21s for a pre-season friendly. That's how you do it. I mean, I've just got a notepad open on my computer, but yeah, I mean, it's good news, isn't it, Emily?
Yeah. No, it is. It's big news. I think it's big news, and the club talked about it in their kind of press release about it enhancing their coverage on Imps Plus, and I think, yeah, a legend like that absolutely will bring so much to that coverage for those that need to watch it. I think his voice will be a timeless throwback, a TT. People should be really pleased with the coverage they're going to get.
Absolutely,
season, I think.
Yeah, no, just fantastic stuff. I'm delighted that he's going to be part of it, and hopefully that follows through into the highlights as well. Because I know that sometimes when they've got the highlights, they use the Sky coverage, the commentary and the Sky coverage. I just think it'd be lovely to have Lincoln's games in there with John Helm's voice, and Jovan McCarmer banging one in like he did against West Brom from 25 yards out. Just hear the reaction from that. It'd be wonderful. So
great.
I'm very, very much looking forward to that.
Yeah. Do we know if it's doing the audio only as well, or is it just the video streams? I can't remember what it said.
I'm going to check this now.
So I was just thinking about if he's commenting on video, like a video stream. It'll be different if you're listening to it. You've got to kind of it will have to be a sort of radio style commentary where you're describing.
Yeah, obviously there is
video, so that'll be an interesting to see how that works.
Yeah, that's always the thing, isn't it? The radio commentary is always, it has to be more descriptive by its nature. You can't see what's going on. And then there's obviously the step further than that with the commentary that Charlie listens to for the audio descriptive, which, by the way, complete tangent. I've listened to that during a game once, and it is phenomenal stuff.
Yeah, it's great.
It's so good. But yeah, that's a big tangent, and I'm sure we can probably have Charlie on at some point to go through that a little bit more. But yeah, just a great addition to the lineup as we head into the season. So the other bit of news, really, I'm aware we're sort of hitting 23 minutes. So can we squeeze 7 minutes out of squad numbers, Emily?
I doubt it. We can give the squad numbers they're out.
Yeah, we do have we do have a couple of questions which we can probably pick up on just before the break as well. But yeah, squad numbers are out. We don't have a number 3 yet, which hints at a left back incoming. Maybe not imminently, but they're obviously keeping that spot free. Everything else from 1 to 18 is done, and then you start to maybe get a bit silly. The thing that does make me smile, and I've mentioned this in the chat before, there is something so nice that just tickles my nerd brain a little bit, that we have 3 forwards, and they are number 9, number 18, and number 27.
Oh, I'd never spotted that. That's lovely.
There you go.
That is lovely.
There you go. And Zayn Okoro's number 36 as well.
Oh, that is not. I've never noticed that. That's excellent. That is excellent. Yeah.
There we go. Yeah. It just makes me smile. And I know that makes me a massive nerd, but it's just nice, isn't it?
No, I'm with you. That's great.
So yeah, in terms of gaps, obviously, like I say, number 3 is still up in the air. We are eagerly awaiting a left back. And then obviously, I think the other spot that we probably need to fill is that centre midfield role that is currently vacant. Whether it's a full on replacement or whether it is a quote unquote project player. I'm aware that's a dirty word these days, but we shall see. So that's it on squad numbers. And anything that you think about squad numbers where you think that's ridiculous?
Maybe not about squad numbers, but you know when players have their first names and nicknames, and it doesn't tend to happen so much at our level. But players that have first names or nicknames or stuff on the back of their shirt instead of their surname,
Yeah,
absolutely not. Absolutely not. Not for me. That annoys me.
Who was it? Who was it? I've forgotten his name, but he had Chikorito on the back of his shirt. It's like, that's not your name.
Hernandez.
That's the one, yeah. It's like, that's not your name. And I get it, but it's not your name. Johnny Benton is just teasing me here. Number 3 being reserved for Toffolo, I presume.
Yeah.
Only. And Andy Blackburn said that Draper is number 34. Of course he is, yes. But yeah, the numbers that are there are very, very satisfying. So let's have a quick look back through. We did have a question here. Roy's asked, do we have any update on the Ben House injury? Nothing has been confirmed. So, yeah, we've not seen anything official from the club regarding Ben House. Obviously, took a bit of a whack on Saturday to his nose, and I think hopefully nothing too serious.
Yeah, Skubala said post-match at West Brom, didn't he? It might be a broken nose, but yeah, we've not heard more since then, have we? So, fingers crossed, it's all healed up by the weekend.
Yeah, definitely, and it'd be nice. I mean, obviously, it's probably going to be a bit sore regardless of what's happened, but we shall keep that in mind. So, 26 minutes and 59 seconds in, I think this might be the time to go for a relatively early break because, yeah, we've exhausted the options of conversation on the topics that we had.
Yes,
I mean, admittedly, one of those is here's some numbers.
Yeah, we're not clutching at straws. We've got a whole preview to do in the second half, so it's worth coming back for that.
Absolutely, that's good plugging that, right? So we will see you the other side of this ad break if you are listening. If you're watching live, we'll stick around and say hello. But in the meantime, catch you in a minute. Cool.
There we go.
Hey YouTube, I very nearly I don't know why. I very nearly clicked the end stream button then when I was like, okay, cool, right, yeah, because I've just done the preview. I've just done the preview and doing the preview. It's like, cool, right, bye, and then you hit the button. I'm like, right, bye. No, I'm not ending it. Yeah,
not yet.
Let's say hello to some people. Who have we got in? Andy Brown is in, as always, from Plymouth. Steve Jollins, evening, all 3 seats to go. Dave Tuplin, evening, one and all. John Booth is in, good evening. Richard Godson, good evening. Ben and Emily, how are we doing? John Davison is in, evening. Steve Barton says, evening, Ben and Emily. John Davison says, walking football pro. I don't think I'd even be very good at walking football.
It's harder than you think. I've done walking hockey before, and I just want to run. So in that regard, it's harder than you think to actually walk.
Walking, like speed walking, it just blows my mind every time I watch it. I'm like, yeah, come on, you're just jogging. Where are we? Team. So yeah, pub team names. Andy Brown says Norfolk and Chance, which that's a classic. I like that. I am Smarticus. I like that one.
Yeah.
Shane says the Betty Swallows fan club was our favourite for a few years.
Yeah. Okay. Good one.
Let's have a look. This might be a team name, but only if it's me and you doing the pod. Pete Summers has said campaign to make episodes presented by Ben and Emily known as Bemily episodes.
Bemily, I like that. Yeah. That's like our Stan name. Is that a thing that young people say? Bemily.
Yeah. Where are we? Who else have we got in? John Davis is just Imps Plus, isn't it? Yes. So that's regards to John Helm. It is just the Imps Plus games. And as we say, we're not 100% sure if it's audio as well. I would suspect it maybe is. I don't know. Carl says, evening both. What's the odds that O'Connor scores against us on Saturday? We'll talk about that in the second half. But yeah, I'm interested about that one. And then a couple of other ones. Even guys, how we feeling about Saturday? Jacko for vice captain, says Simon. Always puts in a shift. I think he was last season, so I wouldn't be surprised if that carries on.
Agree with that.
Yeah, definitely so. Riley Taylor's number change pre-season. He was 15. That's going to confuse me. Not as much as it confused Emily's mum with his name.
Yeah. Yes. What did she? I can't remember what. Yeah.
Was it Rowley Tyler?
Rowley Tyler. Yeah. We can't get it right in our family. Yes.
Oh, Johnny, you're just toying with my heart. People joke about Toffolo, but he hasn't turned up anywhere yet. Imagine the scenes if he gets revealed at Friday at 7 p.m.
Imagine the scenes if he gets revealed at 2:55 on Saturday. Brought the TJ Ioma moment. It's Harry Toffolo comes out onto the pitch pre-match in his big puffer jacket.
Oh, that'd be amazing. Not going to happen, but there we go. Right, so we will come back in.
Before we come back in, can I just say hello to my mum, who is currently in hospital because she's had a little operation.
Oh, bless her.
Yeah. No, she's all right. It's all sort of routine and been booked in for ages, and she's been on the waiting list waiting for it. But she'll be, I don't know if she'll be watching this necessarily at the moment live, but I'm sure she will tune in. So just hello, mum, and get well soon. And I hope that dad, knows how to do the ironing and things like that.
Waiting on your hand and foot. That's how it should be. Yeah, so cool. Right, well, we shall come back in and we will see what we've got to talk about with regard to Reading. So in 3, 2, 1, and we are back. Thank you to our sponsors for the week. Thank you to those of you that are watching on YouTube for a good old chit chat. It's always fun. Get involved if you're going live, or if you can catch us live. We'll be live throughout the season, usually around 7 or 8 o'clock on a Wednesday, and then again on a Sunday mid-afternoon. Always be fun. So, Emily, season's starting on Saturday, isn't it?
It's coming. It's here.
I'm really, it's like Christmas Eve, isn't it? You wake up Saturday, but has he been? It's like, it's 3 o'clock.
No, that left back's not here yet. He's not been.
So, I mean, obviously, Chris and Gaz on Sunday did the Stacey West sort of preview for the division and how they think it's going to go. I think we were actually all in agreement with regard to where Lincoln would finish. Did you have a thought before the podcast around where we'd be, and did that change after the pod?
So I did my 1 to 24, and I have to say I also put Lincoln in 12th. And then I listened to the podcast and went, I can't do the same as all you lot. So I bumped it down to 13th. I added a little bit of extra pessimism into it. So my final answer is that Lincoln will finish 13th this season.
But your actual answer to align with everybody is that we'll finish 12th?
Yes. Yeah.
It is a bit weird, isn't it? Like we've all gone with bang in the middle of mid-table. I mean, obviously, technically mid-table is 12th and a half, but you can't have that. So we're the bottom of the top of the table. And I think that probably feels about right for where we are. Like it's so hard to predict, and it's something that we'll talk about when I spoke to Johnny with regard to Reading. You can't really put your finger on what it is yet with Lincoln. Like like you said earlier, we've not made those tens and tens of signings. It's just we've got a core group, we've got a good core group, and I think that was the thing that was really reminded us on Saturday, was that the core group of players that we've got is actually pretty good. It's not like we're crying out for replacements for everybody. We've lost 3 very good players. Admittedly, we probably lost the best player in the squad, but everybody around them, they're not bad players. I think we're going to be all right. I mean, depending on people's definition of all right and where we should be finishing, in their opinion, I think anything above 12 for me is a win this season.
Yeah, I agree. I'm I don't know. I'm a realist. I won't say I'm a pessimist because that sounds really negative. I am a realist, and I'm definitely not going into this season thinking we're going to do something, if I'm being completely honest. And I think you're right. in that we've kept a core group, and that consistency is really, really important. And we know that the group that we've got are good players. It's a decent team. We know that. I think for me, that kind of doubt, again, probably sounds a bit too negative, but those question marks come in when we have, in my opinion, our 3 best players have moved on, which we knew was going to happen. And, that was always going to be the case. We were ready for Rowan and Pordy and for Ethan to go. But I can't say at this point whether we've replaced them with as good or better. So last season we had a decent team last season. The best 3 have moved on, and we've replaced them with yet to be seen, really. I think, on paper, yes, Bradley can have similar attributes to Pordy. And then we've got 2 gaps still at this point with an Ethan, a Rahan replacement, and a Sean Rowan replacement. So that we don't know. We don't know what's going to go on, who's going to come into those roles, what the club have got in mind for them. So I think for me, that's where it feels like, not that it's hard to be really excited and positive about next season, because of course I am. And I think, you've got to, you can't go into a season without any hope, because that's not what being a football fan is. We all hope that there's going to be some turn of events, or we're going to have an absolute stormer that takes everybody by surprise. But yeah, I just don't think we're in that. It's hard to say. I think it's quite on the fence, isn't it?
Yeah.
Putting us right in the middle, mid-table.
Yeah. And I think that for me is where it just sits. Like, it feels right to put us there. Like, I don't really think that we are in danger of, doing a Shrewsbury. I don't think we are in danger of doing a Birmingham. We'll be somewhere in the middle, and it feels right that somewhere in the middle is slap bang in the middle for me. The concern for me is the depth in the squad that we've got. We know how much we've struggled in the past, where 1 or 2 injuries and all of a sudden we look like a completely weakened team. The worry is, and obviously the hope is, that it won't happen again. But if you get a couple of injuries in the same department, what do you do then? We'd be stuffed. Yeah. Obviously the option is there. We still don't have any loans in the squad as well. That's something to keep in mind. We could always bring loans in before the end of the window, but yeah, obviously that's not the way that the club want to be run at the moment. So it's just going to be an interesting season, I think. Like, I'm not anticipating anything massive. I'm just it's going to be another normal season. For, as Kieran Maguire put it the other week, normal, boring Lincoln.
Yes, but I think that's, I don't want to do that old thing of like, but look where we've come from and all that sort of stuff. Like, I think it's fine where we are, isn't it? And I do think it's hard not to get caught up in the pre-season, looking at these teams spending, shed loads of money on these kind of A-list type players and all this sort of stuff. And you can't help but think, we can't, how can we compete with that? I want to say we're in a different league, because that's a metaphor that literally makes no sense. But it's
a different stratosphere, isn't it?
It's a different, it does feel like a different, yeah, it does. And I think that feels more and more apparent as the seasons go on in League One. And I think the club are more and more transparent where they can be about the budget and the budget situation and what they're working with. So perhaps our eyes are just open to that gulf a bit more. But yeah, I think Gaz put a video out today saying that he hopes Huddersfield get relegated because of.
But that went down well.
It went down, yeah, it went down great on the social media channels. But for me, you just got to hope that there's a humorous turn of events where these clubs that have spent loads of money on all these great players don't amount to anything. It's
for what it's worth,
enjoyable.
Yeah, for what it's worth, I don't think they will. I had I think Luton top, and then Huddersfield going up with them automatically, and then Cardiff winning the playoffs. That was my pick. I can't, just purely from an outsider's perspective, without my Lincoln City glasses on, you just think surely Huddersfield have got to do it this season.
Yeah.
They
Yeah, I
keep
think
trying.
I put them in the playoffs, I think, for my 1 to 24, so yeah. Yeah, I mean, Joe Taylor and Alfie May, I
Mm.
mean
It's
I
just a
mean,
cheat
it's
code, isn't
ludicrous,
it?
isn't it? It's ludicrous.
Yeah, bit of
Ludicrous.
a cheat
You know,
code, but
if they do go up, that's hopefully a additional money for us from Sean Rowan, so
there is that
we've
was
gotta have
maybe
that in
the
mind.
back of my mind when I put that prediction in. I was like,
And
if
maybe
they
Lass
go
as
up,
well. I'm guessing we might have had
oh, of
something in
course,
for
yeah,
him. Something
yeah,
in for him as an add-on or sorry, like an extra
that's a fair point.
bonus.
In that case, I'd sooner them go up than Bolton.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you almost get in a
I don't see
mindset where
Bolton.
you
I
yeah.
don't really see Bolton putting up any trees this season either. But there we go.
No, I almost see them kind of going, well, you almost sort of think that it becomes a point where you want those clubs with all that money out of your league, but
Yeah, but
the ones that come back down are just
it's a bit of a yo-yo, isn't it? Because we've had Birmingham and Wrexham gone. Obviously, they had huge bank accounts, and then we've got Luton come down, Cardiff who aren't short of a few quid. Luton, obviously, they've got the cash in the bank from the parachute payments. They aren't spending it. And Chris and I actually had this conversation at the weekend, and we said it seems like they're doing the sensible thing of right. Let's get us out of the division, and then when we get back into the championship, we've got a bit of a war chest to actually have a go. So that makes sense. But in terms of the amount of money that's in the division, it's still there. It's just being spent slightly differently this season, which
yeah.
is a bit of a relief. But yeah, we don't have to
Yeah.
worry about spending shitloads of money because really we don't have that. But what we do have to worry about is Reading on Saturday.
Mhm.
With the return of our former captain, that will obviously be the headline. It's going to be one of those things. Carl did ask in the chat a little bit earlier on, if I can pull it up. He says, what are the odds that Pordy O'Connor scores against us on Saturday? It's kind of the unwritten rule when we play a former player. They will usually score or do something unbelievably embarrassing with that. And Richard Godson says he watched the Reading v Portsmouth preseason highlights and the Royals defence looked pretty shambolic. Their front line didn't look too special either. I hope I'm not tempting fate.
Mm.
You might be, but then we look pretty good on Saturday as well against West Brom. I mean, you say that you don't want to count your chickens too much before the season starts and all the rest of it. I was looking at the hotel on Wembley Way when Jovan scored his second. I thought this is going to be the best season ever, and that was 2 minutes in. But yeah, I mean, look, Reading. What are you expecting, Emily, from Reading? Because obviously the big news over the season break was that they have finally gotten away from their horrific owner, and that's now there. But it sounds like that might not be all that it was cracked up to be from a one side, one fix perspective.
Mhm.
But how have you got any thoughts on Reading as a club this season and how you think it's going to go for them? And then more importantly, how's it going to go Saturday?
Yeah, so yeah, obviously, as you say, the big news was about their takeover, and I think that getting that done for them is obviously that's great. That is great for the fans and for the club to have that sorted. But yeah, I don't think any fan base wants to be in that position, so it's good for them to get it sorted. And that does mean a fresh start for them, doesn't it? That does kind of mean they can move forward. But a lot of the kind of talk coming out of the club after that takeover, a lot of it has been about rebuilding and sort of lots of hard work going on behind the scenes and a long journey and all that kind of rhetoric. So yeah, I don't think it's a quick fix. I don't think that it needs to be or it should be necessarily. I think that, they've been in such a terrible situation. I think that somebody coming in and making kind of wholesale changes and propelling them immediately back up the league to the champion it doesn't feel realistic. I think that they're probably taking a very sensible option about let's rebuild the club. So I think with that in mind, I'm expecting them to do all right this season. I think I definitely predicted them to finish above us, I think, in the league. But I don't think they're gonna. I can't see them, reaching the playoffs. I mean, if they do just reach the playoffs as a kind of outside chance, I can't see them getting promoted out of the league. So I do think it's going to be a kind of a year of rebuilding for them, and kind of settling down a bit. And I think that's fair enough. I think that's fair enough. So yeah, I can't see them kind of tearing up any trees. What about yourself?
Yeah, no, I'm in the same boat, and we'll play a clip in a second. But I got the chance to speak to Johnny Hunt, Reading fan, earlier today for the preview, so that will be live in the morning. We'll play the clip, but I did say to him, what are Reading fans' hopes for the season? Is it just to have a season of being normal? Like just have a normal season where you play some football, you get some points on the board, and then at the end of it, you look at it and you go, "Oh, I've still got a club. That's nice." Or
Yeah.
you're not having to launch protests with tennis balls being lobbed on the pitch because you're afraid that the club's going to go belly up because of a madman that's in charge. Like it just seems. I think the fan base there seems to maybe be a little bit split. Whether you've got those people who are maybe a bit more pragmatic in their approach and they're saying, okay, like you say, we've had this period of absolute chaos. Let's just take the temperature down in the room a little bit, and then we'll reassess in a season after we've consolidated and sort of go again. And then there's those that are like, he's gone. Where's the problem in us kicking on? And can we do this and spend an awful lot of money? I mean, obviously, they're going to be spending more money than we are, but they aren't spending the amount of money that Wrexham and Birmingham were last season. So it's a tricky one.
Yeah.
If I were if I were a Reading fan, I'd be more than happy to just essentially have a club, which is what Johnny said. So should we hear from Johnny for a couple of minutes?
Yes, let's do that.
Yeah, so I say I got to chat to Johnny a little bit earlier on. The full preview will be live in the morning, but I've been sat in this chair for approximately 13 hours, so it won't be tonight. Let's just put it that way. We'll speak to you on the other side of the clip.
I think just expecting. It's nice to have a club, to be honest. Last year, like the fan base, and we were so unified against the previous owner, and now it's become a slight, as it does with fan bases, that people think this should happen, that should happen. It's like, oh, but we're back to the normal football world we forgot about for years. It's hard because we've lost probably three or four good players in Bengay and Tyler Binden. Tyler Binden was always going to go because he's class, one of the best defenders I've seen in a long time. And then Bengay decided to go to the fake hoops, which is it's a step up for him, and good luck to him. And but that's down to also our the lack of contracts and all the stuff that went on under the previous owner. And then obviously Rob Kuig has come in, guns blazing, and talking a very good game. About what we're going to do and how we're going to do this and how we do that, but the proof's in the pudding. As a fan, you need to shut up or put up. That's the way I would put it. We need. We've had an interesting summer of a few signings coming in, but we're still not where we should be as a squad. We've finally after 5 years, I think we can actually sign players for money. Which is a rarity for us as a fan. All these weird things that normal football clubs do, yeah. And we're like, oh, geez, we can do that. Oh, wow, that's unreal. So yeah, it's a real work in progress, and I get the frustrations of everyone that supports that we should be, there's rumours about the lad from Notts Forest, I think Bowler, coming in for 400, and then that's gone quiet, and we're not going to offer stupid contracts because we've been burnt with that in the past and all the financial issues. So it's a real mixed bag. So I literally, for me, I just kind of go, we just see what happens. I've got a football club, and people go, yeah, we've got a football club back, but it's like, well, you can't fix the mess of the past number of years in one day, or one transfer window even. So you have to be slightly realistic, and I can get the frustrations and I can get all the other things, but it's going to take time.
Yes. Oh, I didn't realise I clipped that a little bit too short there, but a little bit too long. That's the thing that I think we've just said there with regard to it taking time. To get Reading back on their feet, they're going to have to do it steadily if they want to do it right. But of course, that's not really our concern for Saturday. It's probably a concern for a football fan in general over the course of the season. But Saturday, first game of the season, is always a very difficult one to preview. How do we see it going, Emily?
Well, they say, don't they, that you can't read too much into pre-season, but I'm absolutely going to. Based on, like you say, there's nothing much else to go on. In terms of Reading's pre-season friendlies, they drew with Gillingham, they lost to Tottenham Hotspur, they drew with Slough, and then they were beaten very comfortably by Portsmouth, which is a pretty uninspiring set of pre-season results. Even if you aren't reading anything into them, I don't believe that you wouldn't feel a little bit downbeat off the back of that. There was a lot of criticism on social media I saw around that defeat against Portsmouth, particularly around their defence, keeping a little eye out for how Paudie O'Connor was getting on. And they weren't receiving much in the way of praise in their performance off the back of that. So I think that's interesting. I think from looking at what they've done over the summer as well, they've lost a lot of their attacking players. A lot of their attacking threat has gone. Obviously, in the preview there, we talked about Tyler Binden, and also I'm going to probably pronounce this wrong, so do forgive me. Mbenge is another player for them that's moved on, and Nibs is very, very heavily linked to the point where I think they're just waiting to sign on the dotted line to go to Charlton. They've lost a lot there. Again, there's a few days left until Saturdays, isn't there? But I don't think they could bring a player in and get him ready to go. So that kind of depletes their forward line a little bit. So I think that puts us in a good place. I think that puts us in a good place to come up against them. We know what Paudie O'Connor's all about. He knows what we're all about. I think that might be our biggest test, really. Particularly when we think about, our prowess at set pieces, and, scored another one in that friendly, didn't we? Against West Brom. Jovan turned that one in. But Paudie's going to know.
That felt more like pinball than judgment, if I'm honest.
He knew he directed it into the back of the net, didn't he?
Yeah, we'll give him the benefit of the doubt because it's Jovan. But at the time, I genuinely thought it was Housey that scored it.
Yeah. But I think Paudie O'Connor's going to know all about that. So it might be quite difficult to get past that. But do you want me to put a prediction on it at this point, or do we go at the end?
we can do that in a few minutes. I mean, obviously, you say there about getting past that is potentially going to be an issue. I think the way that we get past that is by using the attributes that we have, which if we start with Jovan and Rico on the flanks, they're not slow players. Admittedly, no, it's not going up against Paudie O'Connor. But if you get a ball in the back, if you get the ball in the box from a wide position where they've made a couple of yards on a defender, I don't know who I'd take in an aerial battle between Paudie O'Connor and James Collins. That's going to be an interesting one for me. I mean, obviously they'll know each other from training and everything like that, but yeah, I would like to think that James Collins has the wherewithal and the experience to turn around and say, "I've got your number on this one, mate." And we have pacey options available for us. If we wanted to, you could stick Jovan down the middle and just let him loose against Paudie O'Connor. Yeah, see what he does.
Put Moylan in there maybe to run at the defence as well. Kind of get him. Get him running. Might do them some difficulty defensively. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we know it goes both ways, doesn't it? Paudie knows what we're about, but we know what he's about. So
absolutely. And obviously, you know, it's pretty nailed on that we're going to be going with 4 at the back again this season.
Mhm.
If we suddenly show up with 5 at the back on Saturday, I will be unbelievably surprised because
yeah,
that's everything that we've been told isn't going to happen.
something's gone wrong if that's how we line
Yeah.
up, I think.
Yeah. So we've not got a left back. Yeah. So
Mhm.
there's that. But I mean, looking through the signings that they've made, I mean, obviously, you mentioned about Mbenge going and Tyler Nibbs going as well. Tyler Binden and Harvey Nibbs potentially going. I've got the 2 mixed up there. You know, the big one for me was David Button. Their keeper's gone. He's gone up to Ipswich in the Championship. They've brought in a new goalkeeper, Jack Stevens from Cambridge. Not a place that you would necessarily have thought that a League One keeper would come up through. I'll be brutally honest. I haven't seen too much of Jack Stevens, but they've obviously felt he's right to make the step up. There are other signings. We've got a defensive midfielder, we've got a centre back, we've got an attacking midfielder, we've got a centre back, we've got a centre forward, we've got a left back, we've got a centre back, and we've got a centre back. Although that last centre back, admittedly, is coming back from Forest Green on loan. So we're looking at mainly defensive signings so far, and if we have those players that have left, the obvious question is who's coming in to replace them. Now, you'd expect if Harvey Nibbs does go, I think he's still got a year left on his contract, so they're due a decent amount of money for him. You would expect that they would then maybe open the purse strings a little bit. But again, by the sounds of it, from what Johnny said in our preview, they aren't going mad with contracts either. They're being appropriate with things. Like, they're not dishing out 4 3-year contracts. It's mainly 1 and 2 years at the most at the moment for players that are coming in. So, it feels like this is a transitional season for Reading. And whether that starts on Saturday with a performance where we think, oh, okay, yeah, both teams probably finish near each other at the end of the season. Obviously, it'll improve over the course of things as the squads gel. But I'm not anticipating the curtain being raised to an absolute barn burner on Saturday. I am. I think we both agreed on the preview that I think 1-1 draw to kick off the season. Both teams score. We come away relatively happy. That seems about right to me.
Yeah, well, I was also thinking a draw. However, as we've been having this conversation, I think I might have changed my prediction a little bit and it's difficult because like I say, their attacking options are really depleted. So I can't see them scoring, but I also can't see us keeping a clean sheet. So neither but they sort of cancel each other out, don't they? So I don't. Yes, I think, but I can see us scoring. I can see us scoring because we have scored plenty in the game. As we saw Joven on fire against West Brom,
Absolutely.
and James Collins has been banging him in pre-season. So I just feel like we've got goal scorers in the squad. So with that in mind, and enough kind of dancing around the issue, I think we'll win just 1-0. I think we'll win. I think we'll get the goal. I can't see them scoring. They've got no attacking threats. Not looking good. So yeah, I'm hopeful for a clean sheet.
Yeah, I think their ability to score will probably depend on if Nibbs is still at the club on Saturday. Obviously, he has a record. Last season he was banging them in for fun. If he goes, I'd probably join you on the side of the fence of us winning. But right now, I'm just going to sit on it. It's nice and splintery.
Yeah.
Andy says he thinks 3-1 City. That is always a solid prediction. I can't see it unless everybody comes back, properly buzzing. But we'll see.
We'll see. I'd love it. I'd love to see it.
Oh, of course we would. So Flossie there says 2-0, and Stu says 3-1 Imps. Pordy gets sent off, and Bradley to wave him off. Of course you would, Stu. That's how you always roll. So, right, that's going to do us for the Reading preview. As I say, go check it out when it's live on YouTube. Johnny's fantastic. He's got a really good initiative as well called the Talking Royals. It's a peer-to-peer mental health support group for primarily for Reading fans, but he said, everybody's welcome to get involved, and it's just he's a good chap. Well worth watching the preview for that one. But in the meantime, the only other things that I think we have left to plug are the exhibition up at the Cathedral. I know we mentioned it last week, but it is worth mentioning again because I believe it is now open. It looks like it's a good bit of fun. We had a good little chat on Saturday around it. And if you can get yourself up to the Cathedral, get 10% off with your season ticket for entry, and then have a wander around and check out some bits of Imps history.
Yeah, I'd love to go. I'd love to go. And we're hoping to extend one of my match day visits to Lincoln and go and see it.
Yeah. I always find when you live in a city with a big tourist attraction, you never do it.
You never go. No. It's a busman's holiday. Do they call it that?
Yeah, that's right. I went up to the Cathedral last year because it was early this year. My nana and her friend came up. My nana's in her late 80s at this point, and she's the most incredible woman. Like, she would go bungee jumping if she had the opportunity. I think she's just ridiculous. And she was like, right, we're coming up to Lincoln, and my mate wants to see the Cathedral because he's never seen it before, and I want to go around it as well because I've not been there for years. I was like, you know what, I've not been there for years. So I had a wander around. It was a lovely weekend.
Oh, good.
So there's that. And then the other thing that I think we need to plug, I don't think we've said anything around this publicly yet, but Gary has recorded a special episode of the podcast tonight on his own. So keep your eyes and ears peeled for that one. I don't want to do the reveal on Gary's behalf.
When you say on his own, he's joined by a special guest. It isn't just Gaz on his own. Let's just make that clear.
Gary. Yeah, it's not Gary rocking backwards and forwards in his shed. Just Peter Jackson's bad, and all the rest of it. He is joined by a special guest, so we are looking forward to the release of that one. But other than that, I don't think there's much left to plug.
No, other than just come on the girls, come on the Lionesses. Just for last, that's it. I'm done now. Done.
It's done. It's done, Emily. We won. We won.
I know. I'll keep watching clips of them celebrating on social media until my algorithm tells me otherwise. But that's it from me.
I'm just severely impressed that Lauren Hemp managed to get a full Lego castle back without it breaking into 1 billion pieces. Apparently, only broke into 2. That's impressive.
Yeah,
but look, as always, thank you so much for joining us, guys. We do appreciate it, and we will see you on Sunday. I think it's Gaz and Chris to do the review of the game, but we'll see you next week. And until then, as ever, up the Imps.
Up the Imps.